Test, test.
Good afternoon, lacrosse fans, and welcome back to the 2026 Larry Bishop Memorial Cup. Mark Payne up here in the booth, getting ready for a huge game today. This is the 5th game of the Larry Bishop, and I'll give you one of those. Dawson Mailer joining me up in the booth. I don't have to talk to myself anymore. We can do the broadcast together and enjoy this one. It's been a great week so far. I'm going to start the broadcast out with something right now. I got to apologize to everybody back there in Regina and Fort Saskatchewan. We talked a lot about the fact that these two teams are 0-2 and the Mavericks and the Shamrocks are 2-0. Well, that doesn't guarantee you anything at this point of the tournament, because one of these two teams is going to win this game today. They're going to move on into the semifinal against the loser of the Mavericks-Shamrocks game. So there is still lots on the line in both games as we get ready for this one. Louis, you're going to turn the camera on. I'll turn my chair, and we'll get ready to call this one here from what we call the bullpen here in Innisfail. We're excited for this one. The Fort Saskatchewan Rebels, the North champions. They're ready for this one. How about the team singing the anthem before? Bit of a looser feel than we've had so far in some of these games. Rebels in their cream jerseys today with their red numbers and black trim. The Queen City Kings, on the other hand, in their black uniforms, back in black today with gold trim, as Cashton Seaborg, who had an early exit and an early shower yesterday, is back out there, and we'll get going here. Shoot, scores! That's one way to start it for the Queen City Kings, as they're off to the running as Ethan Palandry has a goal. Dawson, will welcome you in here. You're looking sharp. You're looking like you're native to the area, because you are. Tell me about what you're expecting here today.
Oh, a hard battle between these two teams. They all made it here for a reason, so I bet you it's going to go down to the wire.
We're going to get a little bit of an update on kind of your lacrosse history, and you've been around this team with the Mavericks program for the last few seasons. We'll talk about that game as this one continues on here as the Rebels get back out there. Great moment before this one. The Innisfail Phantom kids were out on the floor practicing, and the Queen City Kings goaltender was out there taking shots. I thought that was awesome, showing the community spirit, and a smile from ear to ear on the Queen City Kings goaltender. Then, out of nowhere, that far gate over there where it says "Let's Go Rebels" opened up, and their training staff came out, and they had T-shirts for all those young players as well. I hung on to one for my buddy Larson as well. So classy gestures on the behalf of both sides, and I did an intro today that you'll see online about how we're really building this lacrosse community here in Alberta at the Junior B Tier 1 level. That shot on net, kick to the corner. That's Andrews. That's his third start in a row here, as he will do all the goaltending here today for the Kings. Dawson, have you had a chance to see the other games? What's kind of been your feel throughout this Larry Bishop?
Oh, Larry Bishop's always fast-paced and it's always physical, but haven't caught much of many games yet, but I'm sure that they're way more intense than when I used to play.
Yeah, and you did play not so long ago, and it was funny because I was talking to some of the coaches yesterday about their history inside the game. Where did you play?
I played with the Mavericks once I got to junior, but coming from a small town, I had to bounce from Red Deer to Airdrie to whoever had a team.
And your hometown is?
Didsbury.
Didsbury, Alberta, which is just about 25 minutes south of where we are here right now in Innisfail. I have been staying in Olds this weekend. Olds is almost dead center between Didsbury and here in Innisfail. Innisfail about 15 to 20 minutes south of Red Deer, so kind of showing you the circles that these players take to get here as play continues on. As mentioned, these two teams, both champions in their own rights, right now trying to battle it out to see who can get to the semifinal here, which will be held on Sunday afternoon. So only the one game Sunday, and the final will take place on Monday. Everything on the line for the Shamrocks and the Mavericks, Dawson, as the winner of that game will go on to the final. How important do you think it is not only to get the rest, but then finish the table 3-0?
Just getting that win tonight is all you got to look forward to. But rest will be important after the game, but you got 60 minutes to determine where you want to be, and first place is always good.
You know, even for me up here in the booth calling these games, it was nice to get some good rest. I was able to sleep in this morning a little bit and try to get hydrated again as it's hot here. It's hot and smoky, in fact, outside. Not too smoky today, but 32 degrees will be the high outside. So we've got the fans blowing in here. That shot on net goes off the right pad of Andrews back to the left-hand side where the Rebels now have control. Play continuing on here at the Larry Bishop. You're watching live continuing coverage here on YouTube. Mark Payne and Dawson Mailer up here in the booth calling all the action. Hanging up over top of both penalty boxes as now the Rebels get back to the attack. And a delayed penalty coming up. The referee's armed out and the goaltender has made his way to the bench. He'll get back in there now, and that's Bowen Carpenter. This is his second game. He was unreal in game one. His lateral movement, watch this. He does the splits. He says it's almost a trick at parties. The guy gets down low, and he's actually shifty when he's down low. It reminds me of a back pitcher. I don't expect you to remember who this is, but the St. Louis Cardinals are playing against the Toronto Blue Jays this weekend. Tony Pena used to do the back catching, and he'd have his one leg out, and he has a very similar style at times. So keep an eye on Bowen Carpenter, but we'll focus right now on another WestJet Airlines power play as the Rebels toss it around here looking for their first goal of this third game for both of these teams here. Back and forth they go. Hard shot. That one beats the goaltender but hits the back bar, and that bar was the post there. This game brought to you by Platinum Fitness here in Innisfil. Couldn't have done this without our great sponsors here. So thankful for the community for backing all of these great young lacrosse players here this weekend. That one pushed back behind the net, back to the left-hand side. Hard shot on net. That one delivered by Nolan Eastwood. Eastwood, number 91, needs to get back defensively as now here come the Queen City Kings back the other way. 2-3. That's Cashton Seaborg, the leading scorer this year for this Queen City club. Coming back into the far corner. He spins off of it and runs it back into the center floor. Likely just trying to kill some time here, right, Dawson?
Yeah, he's doing quite an excellent job.
And then just a casual flip down there into the corner. That one comes out, the goaltender Carpenter, who just simply flips it off to a teammate, and they get back out up the floor here. That's Kalen Smith. Smith back into the corner. Looking for some help now. Rebels trying to move the ball around. How important it is to move the ball quickly on a power play set, Dawson?
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely picked up here in the last few years. You used to love to have a quarterback, a guy who wanted to have the ball, and now it just seems that ball's sitting still.
It's funny you say that. I kept seeing these black uniforms, and he's out there right now. It's Jackson Janot. Don't you think he looks like Drew Brees, number 9 of the Saints?
Definitely could be a lookalike here.
Back out front. A doppelganger, we call that. Back outside. Both knees taped up there for Nolan Eastwood, as these players likely banged up at this point of the postseason. Back inside, there is that familiar number 9 with the assistant captain logo on the front for Janot. Janot throws it across into the far corner. We're 14-17 remaining in the first period. It's 1-0 for the Queen City Kings, trying to make their way into the semifinals on Sunday. Turned over. Now here's a fast break for the Rebels coming down the left-hand side. That one squeaks through the 5-hole, but doesn't fall in the net. That was Bennett Frey. Back outside now. Frey's going to get another chance at it inside the crease there. We saw a great goal yesterday by the Mavericks. Luke Cuttadell jumping up over top of the crease. Is that something new inside the game?
Yeah, just brought in this year. You can now attempt a dunk, but you can't touch the crease still.
So you cannot break the crease. You'll see it there on the floor, that white circle that's completely around both goaltenders here. Push back the other way, comes back inside the zone. Of course, this Mavericks program moved here from Olds a few seasons ago. They've rebranded it the Mavericks Elite Lacrosse Program. And this is their home floor. The ice doesn't go in for a few more weeks because it's also the home of the Innisfil Eagles. Down the left-hand side, here come the Rebels. It's Ashton Johnson. Johnson goes off for the change. He's replaced there by a teammate as they flip it back into the corner, trying to move that ball around fast. Can't do so, can't get a clean look at it. Andrews, a very big goaltender, especially upstairs. I saw a couple highlights that the Shamrocks posted last night, Dawson. They were able to beat him on skips. And so low skips were kind of where they saw the hole on him, and I was talking to some of the coaches about it, so keep an eye on that there for Andrews. On the other end, I think the lower half of the net is safe. Once you see Bowen Carpenter drop here, you'll know what I'm talking about. As it comes back to the left-hand side, there's the captain, Lenz. Back outside, controlled now by Queen City, and they try to throw it down hard there.
Looks to be another power play.
Yeah, it looks like a slashing penalty is coming up here, and I think it's going to be against the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels, so now it's the Queen City Kings' turn, and they did not fly here. They're going to be flying here on the WestJet Airlines power play coming up next. They came in on the first game day early in the morning, and they looked a little bit sluggish. I talked to their coaching staff, thought they looked a little bit flat. They were much better yesterday, and I expect them to be good as well. We'll take you through those first 4 games, that scoring here in a moment. That little back pass there was behind the back, in fact, from Cassian Seaborg, and then Lenz hits the 5-hole and shoots and scores.
That's Jackson Lenz catching a rebound and ripping one low. It looked like it was a 5-hole, middle. But no doubt the second shot. I noticed a few shots that they didn't take early on in the 5-on-5, so happy to see one go in again.
Funny to see there, too, is that sometimes you just get it off so quickly. Similar to a one-timer in hockey, you don't give the goaltender enough time to get set, and he couldn't get his stick down there between the 5-hole, so that one will beat him cleanly. It all started out with Game 1 where the Calgary Shamrocks took out the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels in that first game a couple days ago. Final score was 10-5. The Mavericks would get their first win against these Queen City Kings, a 9-3 score. As now number 9 has picked up the ball. Janot will bring it back up off the floor. Yesterday, a 10-8 win for the Mavericks over the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels in a very tightly contested affair, which I think was one of the better games here so far. And then the Calgary Shamrocks took it to the Kings last night with a score of 8-3. It was never very close, 2-0 after the first 12 minutes, and then the Shams were able to pour it on. Kings looking to respond here as now the Rebels have control. It's 2-0 Queen City. 7-4, the shots on goal in favor of the Rebels. Directing traffic, good crowd here. We expect a big crowd this evening for a huge game between the Shamrocks and the Mavericks. Push back the other way. Hard shot from the back end there. That one blocked off. We talked about Fort Saskatchewan as well, Dawson, a very heavily penalized team in the regular season. How important is discipline?
Yeah, they've always been a hard-hitting team, and I like to see that they carry that through year and year. And they do look like a taller team or a bigger-sized team, so I can see that happening.
There's one of those great shoulder saves there by Bowen Carpenter. He got down in that Pena stance and able to take that one in off the shoulder. As now Fort Saskatchewan Rebels have to get back defensively because Lenz has it again. That one high up over top of the net. Goes off that We Are R sign there. That's We Are Rebels. And back the other way. There's a fired up bench.
What a breakup on that. Sorry, great stick work there. Sorry.
Oh, anytime you need to interrupt, please do. I talk too much as it is. And you're right, it's a really good piece of work there. That's a good defensive play, knocks the ball away. And sometimes it's the little things, right? And that helps build momentum.
Just that second step carries you through.
Back to the line. Good backdoor pass. Shot on net. One of the players had his hands up. That was Eric Rudnetsky as he thought that one was going to trickle across the line. It didn't, however.
You can only get closer, and that's in the net.
Back up the floor. One of the things we've noticed some of the teams have done well is swarm the ball. So when a player has the ball, 2, maybe 3 players surround the same player and are able to get in there on the offensive attack and defensive attack, as keeping possession is so important, and the Kings have another. What a pass, backdoor.
That's Zachary Blundell tapping that one in. It just looked like a dunk or a lob type scenario. He just tucked that home. What a pass. I didn't get to see who fed that beautiful pass, but
I missed it. It was so quickly myself.
And what a hot start here for the Kings.
Wow. That one just right through the seam there, hits the guy back door. Kind of remind me a little bit of an alley-oop in basketball. And immediately it goes into the stick, comes out of it just as quickly, and it's in the back of the net. What a start for the Queen City Kings. They're up 3-0. Scrambled draw there.
It appears they took a face-off violation there on their line, holding the guy's stick, but I think we get a TV timeout.
Yeah, we're taking water breaks at times, and we call that a media timeout at the midway point of the period. So we've got a full cooler of water here behind us, Dawson. So they're keeping us fed and watered up here in the booth. 8-6 are the shots on goal right now in favor of the Rebels, but they're trailing by 3. Game yesterday, the Mavericks were trailing by 3 in the early stages. They were able to come back and tie it up. It's the one thing I notice more than any sport is that they go on momentum runs, and sometimes they come and they'll flood the place with goals, goal after goal after goal. Was that like that when you played as well?
Oh, yeah. We always had the saying, ride the wave and ride it big and surf them all the way home. And as soon as you get rolling, you got to keep it going because you don't want that train to stop.
So the minor lacrosse players here in attendance, take note of that. And I've even noticed that when I've attended Calgary Roughnecks games in the NLL as well, is that they sometimes get hot. You think it's like, oh, they're up by 5. They're going to win this. Next thing you know, it's a 1-goal game, or it's tied, or it flips the other way. We had 3 or 4 lead changes yesterday in the Rebels game against the Mavericks. And so they had the 3-0 lead yesterday. Today they trail by 3. Will they learn from that? They need to get the next one here. Hard, high shot. That one goes hard into the corner. Skips off the glass. Picked up there by Janot. Then he loses it. There's another one, Dawson. When they're along the boards like that, how hard is it to control the ball?
Oh, very. You're thinking everyone's looking at you, kind of a stage fright moment. You just got to pick up that ball and turn and go.
It's Alec Zorniak turning up and getting the ball now. He'll put it back to Dylan Pook, who had a beauty yesterday. Another backdoor play. They tried again. So is that a set play now that they've put into the offense for the day? We'll have to see if the Rebels make adjustments there. Now picked up, thrown back high up by Zorniak. He battles for it there with Seaborg. Seaborg, did he fall on purpose on him?
I think so. I think he. But we have a penalty here. I just didn't see where it happened.
Well, luckily for us, we're up here above the penalty boxes. And it's an illegal cross-check on 19 black.
Must have been when the guy was on the ground.
So Cashton Smith will serve a penalty here, and we'll head back to a WestJet power play. The Rebels trying to respond here with the man advantage. Pushing it back and forth here. I'm already starting to get sticky up here. It's a warm one. I'm sure it's warm down there on the benches. Underneath, Andrews able to make a scrappy play there, as now it's picked up here by the Kings. They'll just work it up the floor and try to kill some time. Time becoming a factor for both of these teams, sitting at 0-2. Such a huge game here for both of them. Who wants to hang out for a semifinal and a potential berth in the final? And we're talking about runs. How about runs of games as well? So if you win today, you win tomorrow, you win the Larry. You got 3 in a row you need right now. So both these teams looking not only for 3 goals in a row, but 3 wins in a row.
Yeah, I'm not saying the odds look great, but you're lucky to have a shot at it still anyways.
It's definitely the harder road, but I've seen that the last few years in covering this event, that sometimes that those lessons you learn along the way can really feed and fuel the fire, especially for the offensive momentum. That one goes well wide. What you really got to watch out now is for fatigue and injuries, and you can watch some of the players limp around. You see some of them have taped up different parts of their bodies as that one goes on net right off that Rebels logo there. Push back the other way. Picked off there by the Kings. Here's a shot. Scores! Short-handed. The Kings have another. It's 4-0.
That's a worst-case scenario if you're a Rebels fan. But, this team is electric. That's the momentum swing right there. You're on the PK, you get a goal. Right now it's all Regina, but what a shot. Placement-wise, I've seen 3 spots, and that was the one I couldn't see, so what a shot.
A great low shot there, and that beats the goaltender. think it was Jacob Panko. We got the two Pankos on the team, Jacob and Ethan, and we'll wait for the call here. That was unreal, though. Picking it off, just curling up around the corner, and then just getting a dagger of a shot low on Carpenter, who's had a rough start here so far, but I don't think anybody was stopping that one. Back out front. Back the other way. It was down there between both rooms before, Dawson. Both teams were quite collected, serious, but nothing out of the norm, just getting ready for the game. As now the Rebels get back to the offensive attack. The penalty has expired. So more bad news for Fort Saskatchewan here. Looking for just some sort of a spark to get things going.
And you talked about momentum. That's all momentum for the Kings now, having 2 kills. Just phenomenal work by them.
I think it's just as exhausting to maintain the momentum at times, too, when you start flying high at times and then you really are going on adrenaline as that one goes back into the corner. Hard in front, that one off the top of the pad there and skips right back into a King stick. Everything going Regina's way here in the first. Lenz, back door, back into the corner, far side, looking for a hard shot there. They'll double clutch, throws it back in off the wall. That's Mason Williams.
A lot of east to west passes here for these Kings. They're getting that ball flying, and it's quick.
Larry Bishop Memorial Cup continuing here in Innisfail. We'll be here for all the games. There'll be 8 of them. This is game number 5. Back inside the zone. Player tripped up there. That's Karsten Janot sent sprawling there. I don't think there's a call coming. We'll see if the tempers start to flow. There is a call coming. It's a slash.
Yeah, it could be a slash, holding, illegal cross check. You pick one. It's under the description of that play. I just didn't know the guilty party.
I know. I'm trying to find it myself. Looks like it's Reed Lowe. It is.
You can't be mad. It's just a hard-fought battle, and
well,
on the ground. You just got to let him be on the ground.
I'm sure that the Rebels are frustrated by the start that they've had so far, too, and this is not going to help. Right back to the air here. The WestJet Airlines power play. They're getting their money's worth here right now. Back out to the outside. Lenz now to Seaborg. Gets a return feed. Hard shot. He got the stick down that time. That's what they beat him 5-hole. That's where the stick needed to be, obviously. That one gets shot hard down into the corner. Back out the other way. Lenz spins off a man. He works it up the left-hand side. He'll find Sawyer Lecco. Lecco down the left-hand wing. Comes all the way back into the zone with 4:38 remaining here in a first period that sees the Queen City Kings with the 4-0 lead. $1:11 remaining in this penalty. Back out to the top. Seaborg, hard shot. Back out front. The rebound's there for a moment. We noticed that yesterday. It was Ryder Beaumont of the Mavericks was able to reach in, keep his feet outside of the crease, Dawson, and he knocked it away from the goaltender, regained it back, and then they turned it into a goal moments later. That's a real skill as well, no?
Oh,
hard shot, low, scores!
Absolutely, though, to answer your question.
I just thought it was super impressive, the hand-eye coordination. Everybody's swinging their sticks at each other. He knocks it loose, then he knocked it back to himself, and then he gets control, spins out in the corner, and gets that one. That one was another quick passing play there that connected there for the Kings, and I would not have expected this. It's 5-0 Queen City.
I don't want to say run away just yet because we got a lot of time left, but so far it's not looking good.
Now, I know in the hockey circles at times, and I'm not going to hang this on the goaltender here, but do you just to spark the team, maybe a goaltending switch, or instead of calling a timeout, or do you just wait to get to the intermission?
I think you got to get to the intermission now. You got 3-4 miles left. But what it is Luke Andrews has had enough quality shots that he can get set in place. If you got 5 on you already, I don't know if you're set in place right now if you're the goalie. If you're happy with how you're looking.
Yeah, and the shots, ironically, are 12-12. So that's a really good point by you, Dawson Mailer up here in the booth with Mark Payne calling all the action here. As play continues, you can see some of the other players arriving, wanting to catch this one. Everybody interested online as well. Back outside. That one cradled there for a moment by Lachlan Clark. Clark takes a hard long shot as the shot clock was about to expire. Picked up now by the Kings. Very vocal bench down here for the Queen City Kings. Having their way here in the first. There's another one of those low sliding saves.
That must be what you speak about.
I joked with them in my interview with them and said, I'm a guy who's having a tough time getting out of bed some days, and this guy's sliding on his knees back and forth on cement floors, up, down, up, down. It's impressive.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Great athleticism here by these great athletes. Good spin-off move there by the Rebels. That one goes hard and wide. They just need something to go their way here. They need one soon, and they get one. Did it go in, though? That beat the goaltender and somehow skipped back out of the net, didn't cross the goal line. Wow.
Must have caught a shoelace or something behind him.
I can't get that kind of spin on my 9-iron when I'm hitting it in at the Sundry Golf Club. That was some action on that ball because that beat the goaltender. And then it spun out and didn't cross the line. Talk about bad luck. Rebels continuing to trail here by 5. Seaborg now with control. Cashton Seaborg back the other way, back out to the left-hand side. Head coach of this Kings team, Dave Lenz, assistants Rhett Handley and Windsor Belanger. Their trainer, Jim Ludwig. The great beard and a great personality around the room. I know the Kings players really like him. Back down low. And then Heather Winarchuk is the team manager. Changing up here. Here come the Rebels. With control. Down the left-hand side. Trying to direct traffic from their bench now as well. It'd be interesting to have one of our GoPro cameras in the dressing room for what's going to be said, especially for Fort Saskatchewan. I know that Queen City will want to keep their foot on the gas here, Dawson. What would the speech be to you as a coach?
I mean, you got to stay in the game. This is the worst scenario for Regina is giving this Rebels team a break. I'd rather just play on. Start up the clock. Let's do it again.
Yeah, I think a speech about it maybe being 0-0 here and nothing's been decided yet. As Queen City obviously has to be happy with less than 60 seconds to play here in the first. Their head coach for the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels is Darren Barrett. He's helped out by James Blanchard, Stu Steppen, and Ethan Peterson, as well as Carter Auerbach and Miller Scrimshaw. Terry Dawkin, the equipment manager, Trace Stewart, Regan Niemeyer, and the massage therapist, Dean Saddam. That's everybody around this team, and they'll all be all hands on deck. A real team effort, as you can even hear them coming off the floor, a little bit frustrated from up here. Here comes Queen City back the other way. Back inside the zone. They'll flip it off there. A quick pass as they'll try to get final possession here, and they'll call the timeout with 12.9 seconds remaining, Dawson.
Now, Painter, I'll pose you the question. Do you pull the goalie?
I think you do. We saw one play earlier on in the week where the goaltender tried to get back in, wasn't able to get there, and Tyler Auger was able to beat him. But I think it's, especially at this point, it's worth the gamble, no?
I've seen it go wrong, yeah, but I think if I'm up 5-0, I leave the goalie in the net.
Yeah, that's fair. And we talk about momentum. You don't want to be the one that creates the momentum at times.
You don't want a small crack to turn into a nice hole anyways.
I think the officiating has been fairly even here this weekend, too. They've had to call some 5-minute majors, but they all were deserving of a 5-minute major call. And it did have the opportunity to flip momentum in some of the games, but they were the right calls. And player safety has to be at a premium here as well. I know it gets rough at times, but some of the nothing of the egregious neighborhood. And we haven't had, and knock on wood here, a real major injury yet, Dawson. Back out the other way. There's Cashton Seaborg. They're going to get the final set in here. Can they make it 6 from number 6? That's Lenz hard off the wall. Carpenter's back in his net there. He gets one final stop here. Shots on goal after one period of play are 15-15, but 5 on the board for the Queen City Kings, who head off the floor. We'll take a break here on YouTube and be back with second period coverage of the 2026 Larry Bishop Memorial Cup. Coming up next. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back inside the bullpen here in Innisfil. Second period about to begin here between the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels and the Queen City Kings. I told the Rebels before the game, I haven't made the mistake of calling them the Rangers. I'm so used to covering the hockey. Of course, the Fort Saskatchewan Strike Group Rangers getting ready for another exciting season in the AHL this year. They play in the same barn. They call it the Jubilee. They hosted this Larry Bishop last year in 2025. We'll see if it's a different story here in the second, because it's been all Queen City so far, Dawson Mailer. And you noticed, I think both teams traveling with 3 goaltenders.
Yeah, that was the question I posed. I seen 2 come out with pads and one's already in the net, so I don't imagine they dress 3, but they probably would travel 3.
Yeah, I know for sure that Queen City does, because there was a great moment before with, I know I'm going to mention it in the first period, but you're just joining us, of the third string goalie was actually out there taking shots with the young Innisfil Phantoms, which just is so awesome to see. Helps grow the sport, and that's what we're here to do. I know that the president of the ALA was here the first couple of days. We've had the mayor of Innisfil here, and over here you'll see Ian Stewart, the commissioner. He hasn't missed a second of these games. He's been here for all 5. Back up the other way. Here's the Rebels. They're in their cream uniforms today with the red and black trim and the black shorts and black helmets. Back up the other way. Queen City in black. Back defensively right now. There's Reed Lowe. Reed Lowe gets it over the other side. Good bounce shot. That one goes high up into the air. One of the things we noticed, and it was 2 years ago at the Founders Cup, Dawson, is that they had kind of a bigger scoreboard in the middle, and so you're able to long ball it here at the bullpen a little bit easier, no?
Yeah, I always hated that. If you had something like a low-hanging banner or one of those big square boxes, it just disrupts the goalie.
Yeah, and I know that Alex Swan, one of the goaltenders for the Mavericks, really likes to make those plays like that. So that's a little bit of a difference here. We've got the higher ceilings. I thought one of the things last year when we were at the Founders in Calgary, they had the Calgary Roughnecks floor down. As now a break coming back the other way with speed. How about the speed? All the way down. Hard shot on net. Good save by Andrews. Wow. But what I really noticed is the other side on 7 Chiefs 2, I think it's a perfect facility for lacrosse. The ceiling's actually twice as high as this ceiling here. And they got the score clock inside that arena. So I think that facility could be home to lacrosse sooner than later. Another shot on net and another goal for the Queen City Kings. It's Cashton Seaborg cashing in. They're running away with this thing.
I don't know if you've seen that, but he faked the dunk. He just brought his entire body up, jumped, and let the ball fall in on the ground.
And then he just dropped the ball casually inside the net.
That's a goal scorer, if I do believe so myself.
Yeah, and was the point leader, and I did some statistical analysis of all these teams before, and I know we've talked about this a couple times, but we just want to mention that Cashton Seaborg, what a great regular season he had. He had 23 goals and 39 assists for 62 points, and he's been hot throughout the playoffs, and here's the goalie change.
Do you just give him a rest, or do you pull him for the period of the game? What's the?
I think at this point, with the score the way it is, I would like to think that you'd give him the rest of the game here, and we probably should tell you who he is as we get things going again here. That's Will Horn now between the pipes. He won't be in your roster there, but he was a big part of the game yesterday against the Mavericks. Here's Seaborg again, hard shot up high. And you think, too, like, after you played each other so many times, Dawson, that some of those easy fakes and that sort of thing, this is the time to use them today, no?
Yeah, absolutely. You got to dig deep in the bag and find a trick that's going to work that nobody's seen.
Well, I've seen every second of this Larry Bishop Memorial Cup so far, and I've been very impressed with not only the players, but the compete that we've seen from all the teams here so far. There has not been any lulls. They've all been here. You can tell they're all very well-run organizations on and off the floor.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't use the exact words I'm hearing from the Regina bench, but they are pumped and excited to be here.
That's okay. It's a family show. We'll try to keep it that way. But, yeah, there's some colorful language. We've got actually 3 microphones in and around our booth here. Well, we're picking up all the audible sounds there from both benches. I had to get adjusted to that, Dawson, coming from the hockey circles. A lot more chatter from the benches and the coaches than you hear in hockey.
Yeah, I think it's not scientifically proven, but it's got to bounce off the concrete. I think that's the difference.
That's right. Back on the outside. And, of course, last year at the Founders Cup, they didn't play on the concrete. They did have the turf down, so that was interesting. A little bit of a change for this team. Only one team in this league played on the turf this year up in Edmonton, so that one comes out the far side. That one high up over top. Did you like playing on turf, or would you prefer to play on the cement floors?
I know my joints prefer the turf, but my knees didn't. When you hit that turf, it just cuts you right up.
Yeah. Hard shot off the bar. Another bounce not going the Rebels' way. They just can't get one. You can see Dave McGarva of the Rebels keeping a close eye on things down there in the far corner. Probably no one more surprised than him at this score here at this stage of the game. We're 15:52 remaining in the second period, and it's 6-0 for the Queen City Kings. So looking to advance here and end the season here for the North Champs as it's back into the corner. We'll throw it back out front. It's loose in front there, but Horn will pick it up easily. Throws it down the right side.
New goalie and see if we can find a weakness or a strong point to talk about.
He's much different style. You see him leaning up on top of the bar. He does cover the upper half of the left. He is good down low as well. They're both very good goaltenders. Hard shot, hard and wide. Goes back, and it's picked up there by the Queen City Kings. Kings up the floor. We'll throw it back to the back end, slow things down now. No urgency to get another one as they get back out there now. Ethan Palandry, who got things started out there, mixing it up in the middle. Push back to the other end. Thrown back into the corner there by Smith. Back to the far side. Kicked behind the net there by Horn. It's picked up by the captain of the Rebels. He'll throw it up. Quick up here for the Rebs. As play continues here. And that's exactly what the message is down there for Queen City, Dawson. You heard them there. Come on, boys, let's keep it going. We've had such a good start. That one down low. Andrews has another big save. Shots on goal, 21-20 in favor of the Kings. Back outside. Queen City back to the attack here. Back outside. Clark. Nothing doing there, and then they'll throw it up. A quick up here for the Rebels. Here they come. Down the middle of the floor. Great defense there. How about that, Dawson?
Absolutely.
He gets it back.
Early and just stuck with him.
Caleb Singer-Shirley there. Playing great defensively, number 5. Back out to the outside. Controlled again there by the Rebels. Nolan Eastwood will flip it off there. Jackson Baker out there. He's got the ball now after receiving a pass from Reed Lowe. Baker now on the outside. Cradles it down the right-hand side. Dives into the crease. And you can hear the bench saying, yeah, Luke, you had a good story there about Luke Andrews. He's got some ties to the area.
He does. He spent many nights at the college bar with me.
Olds College.
Indulge in too much of the activities, but
that's fair.
Yeah.
I know some of those students quite well, and they've actually redone that bar recently. That one off the hand there of Luke Andrews. You said that he needed to go home in the summer, though. I said, why don't you play for the Mavericks? He says, because I got to go home and help on the farm.
Yeah, big farm kid, as you can see. He's built like a big farm kid. They must be growing corn out there in Regina because he's tall.
Well, they're certainly growing it right behind Olds College right now. I saw it there as I was driving out of Olds this morning. And that's a great agriculture school, the Olds College. And, of course, great sports programs there, too, with the Olds College Broncos. There's actually one Bronco in attendance. It's Liam Steele's sister. She's been out volunteering with her mom, Kathy. Back up the other way, up the left-hand side. Here come the Queen City Kings. They've roared here into the Saturday. They don't want to go home yet. It's the long weekend here. I'd like to wish everybody a happy August long weekend. I know they'll be out camping in the area. And everybody excited to have the day off on Monday as well. Back behind, we'll have that final on that holiday Monday. Back outside now. We flip the calendar from July into August. I know that Canadians like to slow the summer down because there's only so many months where we get such great weather like we do here right now. Comes back. I know the farmers are happy with the amount of moisture that they got earlier. How will the crops be this year? Good?
Oh, they'll be good. They'll be soaked and ready to roll, but they always find a reason to complain. There was too much this year. There was too little last year. They just like to complain.
Yeah, it just kind of reminds you, just the people in and around the rink complaining about things. That's how I feel as an Oiler fan. Hard shot on net there. Scores! Seaborg has another. It's 7-0 for the Queen City Kings.
I'm so happy I didn't say it. I was going to jinx it here. I was going to say he's had quite the start getting in that net there. But Seaborg broke the streak for him.
There's another one of those hard skipping low shots. It'd be interesting to kind of go practice that. I can't imagine it's that easy to make those saves. You just don't know where and what level it's going to skip off the floor. Haven't seen as much of them kind of picking the small windows in the upper part of the net here. Saw one really nice goal by Lachlan Clark earlier in the weekend, but not as much. A little bit more strategic, and I know I was talking to some of the coaches about this, about how the setups and the style of play has changed so much. It used to be much more physical up the middle of the floor. Now people playing a lot more around the perimeter.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to get going east to west, get that goalie moving now. I mean, you take a look at Luke Andrews, that's a big goalie, right? You got to get him moving side to side, track that ball, lose the ball, whatever you can do to throw him off. And I mean, it's changed. This game changes every year. It seems like there's a new rule, a new style, something's different, anything. And that's why this game's so great.
He is a big dude. I bet he can throw him back there at the college bar. Back out front. I'm sure you guys made your way over to Bulldog Saloon from time to time as well. Hard shot. That one goes well wide just as the shot clock expires. We haven't reached the midway point yet of this lacrosse game. 10:44 up on the big board here, but we're close to it. 25-24. We've seen a few games of 100 shots. One with 90 yesterday. This one trending that way so far as well, because at the midway point, we're already almost at 50 here. The next shot will be the 50th shot of the game. Good spin move off into the corner there. Officials got to get out of the way there. That banner hanging there in the corner is what they're playing for, as long as the two trophies are sitting there too. You might as well mention there's two banners there. One for the Larry Bishop Championship, one for the Alberta Champion. Teams will get both banners and both trophies if they win it here this week. A little bit different format. We've only got one less team here this year. Of course, the Central Division is no more. The Mavericks win that division last year. This year they come in as the hosts. And the three championship team from the East, North, and South. You're watching East versus North here on YouTube right now. Queen City doing a good job of likely ending the Rebels' season at this point if they can just keep their foot on the gas here. Andrews out of his net. Quick toss there to Janot, who will find a man coming up the left-hand side, and he'll go off for a change. Back the other way. What I think's funny, too, is that, the World Cup obviously was this summer. The amount of running that those players have to do, but then the physicality you add to it in the game of lacrosse. I mean, I just think it's an unbelievable sport in terms of how physically fit you need to be to do the running and then also to be able to battle.
Yeah, I had my girlfriend come to a game, and she thought it looked like I was walking out there, but I was quite exhausted after. Like, you don't realize how much athleticism you have to get out there to run. You can't glide. That's number one. You can't set a pick in basketball. Like, if you're standing straight up, somebody's going to blow you over. And football, you got, just as much, maybe a little less off the line, but you got banging bodies everywhere on this floor. Like, it takes a lot.
You have to be the right place positionally at the time. So I understand kind of when you're viewing it as the casual fan that there does seem to be some walking around. What I think is the stopping and the starting, the consistent fact that you have to keep the momentum going. It's such a fast-paced game because, like in hockey, the ball moves faster, and in hockey sense, the puck moves faster than anybody on the floor. You look at a player like Connor McDavid in hockey, trying to keep up with him the whole time when his feet are moving the whole time. You've got to keep your feet moving, and it's just that level of exhaustion. The other thing, too, for me, is line changes. And so when you have these shifts in momentum and penalties and that sort of thing, your power play groups, and you're playing with a shorter bench. So I have to tip my hat to all these athletes. It's incredible stuff. Back up front. You tell her I disagree. Back into the corner as they spin off the ball. Queen City comes back up. Here's another 2-on-1 developing. But the player goes off. They replace him there quickly. And it's thrown back into the corner, back into the middle of the floor. To the right-hand side. Now to the left. Looking for an open lane there. You see there a player sent sprawling there, and it opens up Seaborg. That would have been his third in a row, a natural hat trick.
Getting in a little conversation after the fact, too. I can't imagine those are nice words.
He was not in a good mood at the end of the game yesterday, so nice to see him respond here and have a much better game here at day 3 of the 2026 Larry Bishop Memorial Cup. Blake Becker comes up the floor. He'll toss it back to his captain, Jackson Lenz, who's got one here in this important pivotal game here on day 3. Hardlow shot scored! They've got another! It's Lachlan Clark!
Kind of one of those just find the hole and watch it go. I mean, he shot it right at the goalie, and then the hole was made.
See kind of one of the Rebels players just looking up into the stands. You can tell that their fans are on the left side, and on the right, they're a much happier crew right now for Queen City. This could be the end here for the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels as they will head up Highway 2 if they don't win this game here this afternoon. Regina, happy to stay there over at the Days Inn. I'm checking in there myself this afternoon as I've switched hotels. We'll be going around town and talking to some of our sponsors and doing a lot more work online. Now that the work week's over, we can kind of focus on getting some of the content that we've been shooting the last few days picked up there by Regina. Here's the goal call. Mandy doing a great job down there for us. We'll have Lenny Istis back in the booth this evening for the 6 o'clock game between the Mavericks and the Shamrocks. I think what I got carried away with yesterday, Dawson, in talking about the 0-2 and 2-0 teams, I wasn't trying to discount the teams in this game because this is a very important game. But last year in the Larry Bishop, we saw the Shamrocks and the Mavericks play back-to-back games. It was the Mavericks who took a beating in the first game, but they got their revenge in the final, and then it goes into the Founders, and their opposite happened. The revenge was on the side of the Calgary Shamrocks. They've developed such a rivalry with them. I think I got caught up in the rivalry, similar to like the Battle of Alberta, right?
Absolutely, especially with those Shamrocks. That's a team you always want to beat. Always, always.
Anyway, I was just very critical of myself as I was driving back last night. Wanted to make that point known that these two teams still with championship aspirations of their own. Queen City, especially right now, looking strong. Palandry, low shot there. I like that. That's a good coaching line. Do something or do better. Back inside the line. Here they come, and that one turned over.
I'm not trying to say anything negative either, but it does look like the Rebels have deflated in a way.
Oh, 100%. I think that we have to call it as it is right now. I was expecting the Rebels to come out and this to be a very competitive game today. Nothing is more surprising to me right now than what the score is right now, and it's hard not to be critical right now when it's 8-0 with 6:25 remaining. Back out the other way. Inside move. I still think they have a lot more to give, and they might get an opportunity here as a high stick there.
Painter, I got to argue this one. This is stick-on-stick violence, and they're calling it. That's just a good defensive play. I got to argue with the ref on that one. I apologize.
I think his head flipped back there. I think that's what sold it.
It wasn't an intentional penalty. It was stick first. But
no, and that's why it's nice having you up here because we get that player's perspective, and it's a slashing call to Jax Janot. So we'll head to another WestJet Airlines power play. Good point, though. So they're saying they connected sticks before it hit them.
110% I bet my life savings, and it's not much, but I could.
Fair enough. You know, you'd have more money in the bank if you didn't spend so much time in that college bar with Andrews. I'm not being critical there.
It was the girls. It was the girls.
Yeah, fair enough. 100%. It gets worse, my friend. Back out the other way. That one chipped in front. At the top of the zone here, Andrews. He takes a little bit of a shove there. We haven't seen a good goalie. I've seen the one goalie hit behind the net, but it was not intentional. We used to always look for that back in the day as a good little goalie hit back behind the net. Usually some of the bigger guys out there, certainly the case here for the Queen City Kings today, who just want to kill some time off, and they'll just throw it up skyward. They're almost hit the flag for Alberta, Canada, and Innisfail, and that's where we are here at this 2026 championship. Innisfail, Alberta, back outside. Rebels trying to get one, trying to get some sort of a spark here. There's still plenty of time. 25 minutes remaining in the lacrosse game. Back to the outside. Rebels down low. Reed Lowe can't get that one to go. Get away from the little slash there. Here's Singer. Shirley down the right-hand side, back into the corner. He's just going to go for a run.
He's got some legs behind him, too. He's quick.
You can see Alex Swan is in the door frame there in front of the Mavericks dressing room there. You can't even see daylight when he's standing in the door frame. He and Andrews, probably two of the biggest players here in this competition.
And they're both in net, too. That's the funny part.
Yeah, that's right. Two big goalies. The soft-spoken Alex Swan has played one of 2 games. We're not sure what the starting lineup's going to look like this evening for either team. I've seen a little bit of rope-a-dope in these Bishops and as well as the Founders, where teams don't play certain lineups and they play things certain ways. I think we're just going to get best on best tonight. I really do. Up the left-hand side. I've been wrong before, though, folks. So you'll have to tune in with us here on YouTube for Game 6. The Mavericks and Shamrocks at 6 o'clock, but still plenty to be decided here. That hard shot on net goes off that crest of the Queen City goaltender, Andrews. I was joking yesterday about how Swan's jersey is actually bigger than the duvet on my king-size bed.
Yeah, you might be right with that one.
It's a triple XL. Back into the corner. Out the other way. That hard shot back off the back bar there. Seaborg still looking for that third goal to match his jersey number.
And to add to that, Painter, I went to a wedding and Swan was there. My neck has never hurt so much. Looking up at him all night. I
got a great story. When we were in the Founders Cup in 2024, we did a day trip with the team down to Niagara Falls. One of the wonders of the world, and there's Alex Swan standing in the middle of all these tourists. I swear he was 1.5 feet taller than anybody there. So it was a great scene. Of course, then Eli Johansson and I walk into a local liquor store there, and 2 guys look at us and say, "You guys aren't from here, are you?" Couple big Alberta boys. We call that Alberta beef in this part of Alberta. Plenty of ranchers around here. Oil country, too. Great logo this year. That hard shot scores again, but this time it is the Rebels. They're on the board.
That's Dylan Puke breaking Andrew's streak there. That was 29 shots, 29 saves. Now it's 30, but
my hockey mentality, I wanted to call him Puck so bad, but I talked to the teams before. It is Puke. It's P-O-O-K is how they tell you to pronounce it. Puke. But it's P-U-K is the actual spelling. So hi to the Puke family out there. As they have their first goal, do the Rebels. There goes the shutout. But everything else seems to be going Queen City's way. See if they can keep that momentum going, or will it flip? Palandri into the corner. What a comeback this would be. As it comes back into the corner. They flip off the sidewall there. That's Lecco with control. So Lecco, hard shot. That goes wide. High up. He almost gets his own rebound. That's another real skill when you hit that backboard and it comes off really high to be able to track it. Good hand-eye coordination. 2:20 remaining here in this second period. The winner moves on. The loser goes home. Hard shot. That one well wide. You can see now the spark a little bit, hey?
Yeah, that's Pookie's trying to break it again. He's trying to get another one for him.
It's funny how it works. Back up the other way. Hard shot by Lowe. A low shot from Lowe. Back up the other way. Here come the Queen City Kings. Back up the left-hand side. That's Bennett Singer Shirley. He's number 10. Over to Seaborg. Seaborg looks for a man coming in off the bench.
Dangerous pass.
Yeah, it was, because they've got that square taped off there in front of both benches. If you're inside that, you're not allowed to touch the ball, right?
I believe you're all right with that.
Yeah. Back down low. That one in between, that was in the crease, and they catch that quickly. It's going to be picked up behind the net there by Mason Williams and thrown up the floor. Blown down. A cross-checking call coming up.
I think Seaborg gets on the stat sheet again, just not in the way he would like to.
He's had great energy here today, has
Cashton Seaborg, but it just maybe boiled over there a bit, bit of a physical player. So with $1:22 remaining here in the second, we'll have another penalty brought to you by WestJet Airlines. Make sure you scan the QR code in and around the bullpen this weekend to win a trip for two anywhere WestJet flies. And they fly a lot of places. Back outside, controlled now by the Rebels. Rebels flipping it back, trying to get another power play goal here. Down low, Reed Lowe has that one covered up. And you'll see reaching into his pads, he had to take off his glove even, did Andrews. Down to 60 seconds to play here.
If that doesn't catch any padding, Painter, that's right off the kneecap. That's the save right there.
Yeah, I would definitely be wearing some sort of a kneecap, and what a hit. Wow. Got absolutely rocked, and that went off the hand, and they called that right away. Here we go. I said it was smoking. Will a fire start here for the Rebels? Finally, some life from both teams here. So he got hit, he said, but really what happened there is that he had that in his glove, and he threw it up the floor there.
Yeah, we have a long-time joke with a buddy. I threw him a pass. He caught it with his hand instead of the stick. That was his first ever game, that last ever game. He gave up the sport quick, but, yeah, that is a penalty. If you smack it with your palm, I think it's a penalty. If it just hits your glove, you're okay.
So he had that on the inside of his palm and kind of threw it forward, not hard or to another player, just to himself. But his argument was that he was hit. That low shot there by the Rebels, handled easily there by Andrews. Queen City's going to have a chance to kill out the rest of this period and look for 20 miles and 20 smiles in the third and try to move on into the semifinal tomorrow. They'll get rest, probably stick around, maybe watch the Mavericks game here this evening against the Calgary Shamrocks. Shamrocks have been staying in Calgary all week. We'll come back up the highway, I'm sure, shortly as well. We'll have to keep an eye out for them. But we'll take a break here on YouTube. 34-32, the shots in favor of the Rebels. They trail by 7. It's 8-1 heading to the third. We'll have the double minors coming up and a power play to begin the third period. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you for the third coming up next.
Yeah, it's on now. How about now? Yeah. Yeah. Maybe if I'm. How about here if it's far away? But if it's right here, it's reading it. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the 2026 Larry Bishop Memorial Cup. We're kind of chatting up here in the booth, myself and Dawson Mailer. We know we've had some audio issues. I'm not just talking to myself, am I?
No, you're not. I am here. He is sane, everyone. He is sane.
We're developing his broadcast voice. I'm up here calling the game, obviously. Dawson Mailer adding some color. One of the interesting things coming in off the floor there, the Florida Saskatchewan Rebels were very early to get back out on the floor, and they were chatting. You kind of overheard what they were saying. Kind of bring us up to speed.
Yeah, it's. I'm not going to use their words, but it's kind of you get the engine in gear and let's get after this and get after it early.
Yeah, and there was a let's go. You can see that their healthy scratches are down there in the far corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So all hands on deck here in the third period. The winner advances. The loser goes home. It's 8-1 in favor of the Queen City Kings, and they start this period shorthanded. A 5-on-3. Really important period of time here, and a good play there to keep the ball away from the player and push it back down the sidewall there by Singer Shirley. Bennett gets after it behind the net. Horn back between the pipes here for this third period, and they're making a racket on the Queen City bench.
That's quite the effort there on that kill.
Sure was, as it's back down the sidewall there. And work it back into the corner, back out to the top of the zone. Rebels now get the WestJet power play set up on net. Luke Andrews, probably been the star here. We've got the Jackson Porter player of the game after this one, Dawson. He's my top pick right now for Queen City. Whoa. And hobbling around there and getting a full healthy swing in there. Luckily missing the player. That was Nolan Eastwood with a Jose Batista home run swing.
Yeah, it's funny how that one was called on number 9, and then he takes a baseball swing right to the head and didn't get one. But it is what it is.
Jackson Porter player of the game. They're awarding the players a wooden shaft for the stick. It's got the 2026 engraving on it, kind of a nice feature done by the organizing committee here on the Mavericks lacrosse program. The other Singer Shirley, Caleb, comes down the left-hand side. Back inside the zone, out top there to Cashton Seaborg. Seaborg has been excellent. Over to Sawyer Lecco. Lecco back outside now to Palandri. Palandri over to Seaborg. They battle for it there in the middle of the floor. Here comes Lenz. Lenz back up. Hard shot high over top of the net.
Just a little confirmation. They can hear me.
They can hear you. I can hear you just fine.
Yeah.
You look sharp, too. I like that shirt.
Yeah. Dressed to impress the people up in the booth.
Oh, I'm all about it, you know. I had the suit on day one, you know.
Yeah, it would be a little hot. I'm feeling it now.
I lost the tie. I donated the hat to the dressing room as the player of the game hat. It's an expensive one. That one slipped around the goalie. It's in. The Rebels have another. That's the momentum they needed. We talk about luck, and that was a lucky one that trickled through there, but they aren't going to count it.
So the ball has to be in before he lands or goes through the crease. And with how long that took, there was no way that one was counted.
They sold it. They got me. I'll remember that. Clark back inside. That flipped up now, and it comes back up off the floor. Here come the Rebels back the other way, needing to mount a massive comeback here in the third. Otherwise, their season will come to an end here at the Larry Bishop. Back up the right-hand side, controlled there by Nolan Geddes. Geddes comes off for the change. Seaborg back there with control. He'll dish it off. Controlled there by Cashton Smith. Smith looking for a player out middle there. Sent sprawling, however. And now the Rebels will come up the left-hand side of the floor with speed inside the zone. Looking for some help out there is Ethan Joliet. Back out the other way. Rebels with control. On the back end. Clint Hart shot that one down low. Kind of a casual low save there on Dylan Pook. Back up the floor. It's going to come all the way back down on Horn. He's just going to leave it there for his teammate, Jack Nickel. Nickel up the left-hand side. Back into the corner. Play continuing on. Backdoor play as they try to connect with Pook there. And it's picked up now by Queen City, who will bounce it up off the floor. Controlled there by Jacob Panko. Panko's got 2 Rebels on him. He doesn't care. On the back end now, they'll dish it off. Picked up there, up the left-hand side with speed. Down the wing, into the zone. Queen City trying to pile on here. They certainly have on the scoreboard. It's 8-1. 39-33 in favor of the Rebels.
And you're going to see this thing get physical, and it's going to get physical quick.
Yeah. Here we go behind the net here. And they're yelling for the bench to stay out here. The 2 players tangled up here. Cooler heads will prevail. So one of the things I was kind of wondering here, Dawson, was the flipping back and forth of the goalies. I know you kind of want to balance rest with just having a starter. I'm a big believer, especially in the postseason, of riding one guy. That's what they've done with the Shamrocks with Chase Mysak. I know it's different for every team. How do you feel about the goaltending situation? We'll talk about that here more in a moment.
I've always believed it's a job, and the guy who's doing it best gets the job.
I like that. I know a couple years ago I was covering a playoff series in the AHL, and I won't say which team it was because both the goalies were excellent. But I kind of felt like the coach had let, if you win, you're in.
Yep.
And I was never really like that. I didn't think in a game 2 of this particular series that it should have gone back to the other goalie, and they didn't go with it, and they ended up losing the series. I mean, obviously, super easy to be critical up here in the booth. But, for example, Andrews has been ridden here the whole way here for Queen City, and now you've got him potentially heading into a semifinal game. I think that's a bit of an advantage, and it gives that confidence. And I know from a mental side of things, and we were looking at something mentally between periods there about the mental side of things, especially for the goaltender, you want to have that confidence behind him, which is why I'm so interested to see who will start with the Mavericks this afternoon. That game at 6 o'clock will come up after this one. That hard shot from the point there from the captain, Lenz. I know all Queen City wants is to get another one here to really hammer this message home. Clark on the back end. They're coaching hard from the bench here below us. They're on the home side. Rebels are on the visitors bench. Back outside to Palandri. Palandri gets a return feed. Palandri back the other way. Back to a play. What a passing play that was. They're starting to click, Queen City. And I've said this for the last couple seasons with them. They're Jekyll and Hyde. They're either really good or they're not having their best day. And it's sometimes in the same game.
Oh, absolutely. You got to take travel into a factor with this team. If they're traveling good, then they're going to play good if they're traveling.
Yeah, hard shot on net. 5-hole. Clark has another.
I think that's a hat trick for the young man. I believe so. I'm not going to lose my hat, but I
No,
think it is.
Okay, keep it on. I don't want to lose mine either. I've already lost all my hair, and of course I've given my cowboy hat to the Mavericks dressing room, so I got to work on that myself. Regardless, I'll be staying at the same hotel as the Kings tonight, so I'll kind of get a bird's eye view, and that's kind of what I like to cover these series, is kind of just be in and around each team, and as things whittle down, hard to do that obviously with the Shamrocks. I'd have to go home to my place, which is about a 6-minute drive away from their home barn at Stupapard. That one will be ripped down, and they'll have a new facility that's going up. It's going to be a beautiful new facility in Southwest Calgary. And it's long overdue.
Long overdue, but that Stu is just a place to play.
It really is. I used to hate playing hockey there. High boards, you'd get hammered into the boards. You'd get a lot of hip injuries and that sort of thing. It was not my favorite place to play. They got the ramps up the hallways. Not so bad for lacrosse, but not so much fun to try to get around in your skates in that building. Of course, home of the Calgary Royals as well as the Calgary Shamrocks. Back into the corner, back out the other way. Good behind the back pass on net. That one saved there by Horn. He's been sharp. He's only allowed, I think, just the one goal so far. That's the second one now with Clark.
There's a dunk attempt.
And here we go.
Now, if you're Regina, you can't afford to lose a player going into the next game.
Yeah, and you know that the Rebels will try to bait them into that, and that's why they're wanting them out of it. Also trying to avoid any unnecessary injuries, and no surprise that Cashin Seaborg right in the mix.
I will say there's 9 Rebels jerseys on the floor in a scrum.
Dawson, yesterday, we saw this kind of in the later stages, and then the officials started handing out 10s. We haven't seen that so far. Now we have. He's going to hit the showers. So there's an early exit.
Get the showers warm is what we used to say to that guy if we were playing him.
Going to break the gate over there, too. So that's Bennett Frey, who just made a violent exit to the Larry Bishop Memorial Cup here in Innisfil. 13 minutes exactly remaining in this one. The winner moves on into the semifinal, and the loser obviously will head home. We'll tell you a little bit about the schedule upcoming here, as we like to have everything kind of covered up here in the booth. Platinum Fitness, of course, the sponsor. We'd like to thank so many in the laundry list of sponsors, including the Innisfil Legion, Branch 104, in their 100th season, 1926 to 2026, as well as Wellwork Energy Services, as we get this thing going again here in a moment. We'll tell you about the schedule. Today is at 6 o'clock, but tomorrow the semifinal is at 2 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, and that is the second and third place teams facing off. Whoever wins tonight will get a bye into Monday's final on the holiday Monday, August 3rd. That game takes place at 1 o'clock. We'll have live coverage here on YouTube as well, and then the closing ceremonies will take place at 3:30. So still so much on the line. And now, for me up here in the booth, this is when you can kind of feel the energy change during the week. More on the line, each one of these games coming up now. The final 3 games in this Larry Bishop, this is when everything's going to be decided.
Yeah, it's the weekend within the weekend. You get this started off early on Thursday, and you got to battle to put yourself in a position, and now that you're in that position, it's now go time.
Yeah, you set the tone the first couple days. Obviously, getting off to the start, the Mavericks and the Shamrocks have, but I like the way this Queen City team looks right now. And I want to remind everyone that we were out there in Regina. They were both close games, and they've got something to prove here as well. And now they've got their rest, and they've kind of got their rhythm underneath them. The hotel, not very far away. It's about 10 minutes away. Will that be an advantage? Sometimes, you see teams in the postseason, they want to stay on the road. They sometimes will come home and stay away from family and that sort of thing and stay in hotel, stay as a cohesive unit as a team. We'll see if that becomes a factor here. Rebels trying to spoil the party here with 13 minutes left. We'll have to do so to keep this thing going. They're back on the power play now, brought to you by WestJet Airlines. So that player that was ejected, that's a misconduct. That doesn't go up as a penalty. Then back out the other back door. Shot on net. Andrews has it again. He's been very good down low today.
Absolutely. He takes up so much net that when it's a close situation, he drops down. He's the same size.
It was Myers Shuttlesworth with 2 skip shots. That were the highlights that I saw, but you could kind of see Andrews as well. He flipped his head back on the second one especially, thinking he knew he could make the save. And so sometimes these goaltenders on a mental side of things are their biggest critics.
Yeah, I'm sure Luke holds himself to a high standard and is proud of his effort tonight.
Oh, he has to be. And he makes another good save there, but good rebound control. Then a long toss up the middle of the floor. Can they chase it down? Nope. Goalie to goalie. It's the Rebels now. They pick it up back inside the zone. All the way back on the WestJet power play. Into the corner. Off the wall. They regain control. Back the other way. Hard loose shot. Nothing doing there. Play continuing on. Another backdoor play is cut off there by the Kings, and they'll have a chance to get it out. Taking advantage of that one, and coming up the side wall there is Blake Becker. Becker behind the net, killing some time here. And time becoming the biggest issue here now with 11:05 remaining. It still remains, and here we go. A little bit of gamesmanship up there. Kind of a little soft contact as Ryland Walsh out there, always mixing it up. Back down the side wall. Back outside. Eric Tompkins out there. Hard shot off the bar. That one from Rudeski. All the way back onto Will Horn. And it's picked up there by Reed Lowe. Lowe up the left-hand side. Runs back into the zone. Players lost some sort of equipment there. It looks like might be a... Is it a glove?
It is a glove.
It is.
Looks of it.
I thought it might have been a slash guard, but regardless, it's been picked up by the official, and now Palandri bounces it over to Seaborg. Seaborg watched there by Nickel. Comes back up the left-hand side as we approach the midway point of the final stanza. Everything on the line here on day 3. The Rebels in danger of heading home early. 9-1 the score. The Queen City Kings with a healthy lead. Slashed away by Janot, who wears the number 9, but regained control there by the Rebels. Eastwood looking for some help. He's got both his knees taped up, does 91. Now a nice move inside. Tries to go up high.
Painter, I got to say that one was a bit too fancy. Bit too fancy.
All Swedish, no finish, we say in the hockey circles. Back outside. No offense to the Swedes or the Finns either. Back to the far side. It's just a cliche, folks. Relax. Back out front. Shot behind the back.
Oh my.
That was too fancy, too, and it didn't work. Eat your heart out, Matthew Tkachuk.
I do have to put my hands together on that one.
Down the left-hand side. Here's another quick break. That's 3 in a row. Starting to see a little bit more of the offensive flair here now. Good little check
what
there.
an effort.
Push back there and picked up by Seaborg. Cashton Seaborg will elect to slow it down here. Well aware of what the clock says. 12 on the shot clock. 8:33 on the game clock. It looks as if the Queen City Kings are going to be one of our 2 representatives on Sunday. Hard shot there by Walsh. That goes well wide. Walsh has not had a lot of floor time here, and it's interesting that he's out here in the late stages. Keep an eye on him, because if things boil over, I expect him to be in the middle of it.
Yeah, he knows his role by the looks of it. He's a big body out there.
He mixed it up a couple times last year as well. Liam Elliott now out there. Reed Lowe back into the corner. Lowe with control. Throws it back out front. That skips in front of the Regina bench. Especially for fifth-year players here, too. This could be it for them. So
Yeah, I will say this is not the day to have your worst game. And I think, unfortunately for the Rebels, this was their worst game.
yeah, it has not been their best effort for sure. Shots on goal, however, show another thing. It's 47-38 in favor of the Rebels. We mentioned there's been some 100-shot games here. We're well on our way to get to that pace with 7:50 remaining up here in the booth. We look forward to that next game, of course, at 6 o'clock. It'll be back here on YouTube, and we couldn't do it without all the great volunteers in and around Innisfail the last few days. And, of course, we have the Jackson Porter Player of the Game Award. Jackson grew up in Leduc and played the VBL Wolves and the Warriors and the Posse minor leagues. He was drafted in 2021 by both the Miners Junior A and Rebels Junior B program, who we're watching here right now. He played box, field lacrosse, and played with Team Israel at the 2022 WJLC, scoring 23 points in 5 games. He'll be remembered for his good nature and competitiveness. Jackson was the type of player who could play with position in any situation, and he was a true Swiss Army knife type of player. Jackson loved sports, going to the gym, late night talks with his sister, and coaching his younger brothers and hanging out with friends. He will be dearly missed. We have the Jackson Porter Player of the Game Awards coming up after this one. Queen City back to the attack. They throw it across there as they try to set things up on the offensive attack. And you can hear the coaches saying that it was tipped down there.
I did catch a bit of Regina's message to their players there, and it was get out of the 7 minutes clean and don't engage and just keep playing and let's get out here.
Smart. And that's exactly what my message would be if I were a coach. That's the kind of cool thing about being up here. We've got kind of this bird's eye view, and we can hear things, especially from that home side where we're broadcasting from. As it comes back the other way, sometimes it's a little bit too aggressive of language to share like that. So nice that we can share more of a calmer message there from the Queen City side of things.
Oh, there was words I couldn't say.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Shocker.
It's always in this sport.
Shocker.
Yeah.
Panko to Seabrook.
That's how you get a message through a teenager's head. If you haven't figured that out, you gotta put a couple cuss words in front of them.
And then they catches their attention?
Yeah.
Interesting. Seaborg out there in the middle. Back on the end there to Lenz. Cross, pass into the corner. Horn steps out. Plays a little bit of interference there, and the Rebels will come out of their zone. Off the left-hand side. Mauled there by 2 Kings players. And you can hear them yelling, Ethan. That's Ethan Palandri. Doesn't want him to engage Eastwood down there on the far side. 6:16 remaining and a potential berth in the semifinal on the line here for the Queen City Kings. Hard shot down low. Play continuing on here with 6:04 remaining. Comes back out front. Skipped out into the middle of the floor there, and it's scooped up by the Rebels. They'll come up the floor quickly. Hard shot on net. Nothing doing there from Knox Despins.
Seaborg with an amazing defensive play. What a stick.
Yeah, we talk about him offensively, but it's his defensive game that is just as impressive. He's been excellent. We talked about Ethan Hildebrandt yesterday for the Mavericks in kind of the same type of role as Seabrook plays for these Kings. Back outside, hard shot there from Lenz. That lands on Horn, who now they flip it up the middle of the floor. Here they come again, the Rebels hauled down there. That's going to be a penalty.
I didn't see the penalty, but I can't imagine you're starting a fight over a holding call.
No, and he just hauled down. It looks like his leg is a little bit bagged up. That's Alec Zorniak. Sometimes when you're in a lopsided affair like this too, Dawson, when you take penalties late, it's actually a good thing. You're just able to kind of throw the ball down and kind of slow things down. It kind of sucks the wind out of the game a little bit.
Yeah, it keeps this Rebels offense out
Yeah.
and Walsh on the bench.
Certainly different than if the game was a 1-goal game right now.
Yeah.
2 minutes remaining.
And if they do get on that side, have a look at Walsh's stick and tell me if you see anything different about his than everyone else's.
Okay, I'll look for that. We'll see if he gets another shift here. I'm sure he will. Eastwood, hard shot there, and I was just about to say 2 minutes remaining in the penalty. Now down to 1:44, and you can really hear them barking down there from the Rebels bench now.
My mother at Didsbury heard that one.
Yes, she did, didn't she?
That was a loud one.
Sorry, Mom. Hard low shot there. Andrews now picked up the right-hand side. And they'll slow things down here. Will Queen City, this is exactly what I was just talking about. Palandri now comes out the other way. And they'll go deeper into the bench here, I'm sure, for Queen City here to finish. And grabbing the stick there, but dropping it was the Queen City player, Palandri. Down the left-hand wing, into the zone. That's Juliet with possession. Now it's back to Reed Lowe. Lowe back into the corner. 4:08 remaining. Behind the back. Now they're just trying fancy stuff, I think, Dawson.
Yeah, just backyard ball now at this point.
Hard low shot, falling down to his knees there is Andrews. He's been the backbone here today. And up the wing now, here comes Queen City back the other way. Into the zone. Off the bench. Getting a return feed now is Dylan Pook. Pook cradles it there. He's hounded there by 2 players in front of the Rebels bench. But still has possession down in the corner. Under 3:30 to go here. Shot clock expires. They do have their 50th shot up on the board, do the Rebels. Hard to believe. They're outshooting them 50-41 and trail by 8. As the penalty is about to expire here for the Rebels. And we'll head back to 5-on-5 lacrosse here on YouTube. There's another dent in the wall down there. The player comes off smashing his stick. Back up the other way. Frustration boiling over. And an empty net now as Horn has made his way off with 2:55 remaining. And the instructions there from the Kings bench was hold the ball.
Yeah, get a reset, get a shot at the end of the shot clock, and hope to get it back and kill this game out. You're going to see a couple high guys here, too. They don't want to. I don't think they're looking to score right now.
Back inside the zone, 2:44 remaining. You're watching the 2026 Larry Bishop Memorial Cup here from Innisfil, Alberta. Innisfil Arena, the host. We call it the bullpen. It'll be a madhouse in here this evening for a 6 o'clock game. As the captain for the Queen City Kings comes off and the Rebels regain possession. Flipped off there to Nolan Eastwood with 2:10 remaining. Back to Lowe. Sticks are out in front of the Kings bench as they get prepared to celebrate a semifinal berth at this Larry Bishop Memorial Cup. Janot is hauled down there. And I haven't seen Walsh back out there, but I'm going to guess his stick is a Woody.
The stick is extended.
It's extended.
Yeah, it's about a foot and a half too long, I think.
He would have caught me there. Good for field lacrosse.
Yep.
Back outside.
A foot and a half. I should say it's probably.
What would the advantage be there?
Just so you can slash further away.
Oh, okay, good.
I don't think he's too quick on the feet, so that would benefit him.
Fair enough. Good analysis up here. That little back play. All it is BTBs now. It is. It's just like backyard ball, as you stated a moment ago. Now an empty net. Panko being told to hold it, though, not shoot it on net. He follows the instructions from his coach's bench, and now comes in and takes the shot and scores. 10 goals on the board. The Kings, and there is Walsh out there with that extended stick. You're right. They're not even going to line up over there.
I'm not one for a mercy rule, but this is just a little chip on the shoulder, a little jab back at him type of scenario. Put 4 guys on the D-line.
So usually you would have players on both ends there. They didn't even go towards Walsh. And now back, here come the Kings. They're going to move on here. Who will they face, the Shamrocks or the Mavericks? They're starting to whittle things down here. And now it's into the corner there behind the net. Picked up now. Calmer heads have prevailed here so far. 34.8.
He's staying out.
But he's also a fifth year, so it's nice to see the coaches leave him out there for a final shift. Back into the corner. They battle for it there. Palandri and Lowe. Lowe fights for it in the corner.
And here we go.
And now here we go. And there's the Flippers. Singer surely wants nothing to do with it. We'll let the video speak for itself here for a moment.
Yeah, I don't know if you can get a penalty here if you're a King. It looked like they got jumped. Here comes the 10.
Now here comes the goalie.
Luke wants it, and he wants it. I've seen that in the bar, too. It's not a good idea.
Here we go. Brad, it's great television.
I hope there's no handshakes.
Here we go. I can't decide if it's the rodeo or the circus in town here right now.
Remember that year we had a WWE fight?
Oh, right. That was one of the, they like that is the Netfront sports teams love that. The wrestling promo that we ran, and they did the table.
I'm so happy for number 5. He did get away from Walsh.
Caleb Singer, surely. Yeah. And there you go. Some sportsmanship there as well. A few more players are hitting the showers here for the Rebels. They are your North champions. And they will just run the clock out. The Queen City Kings move on to the semifinals on Sunday, and they are fired up here at the bullpen. Dawson Mailer will do it one more time here this evening as the Mavericks will face off against the Shamrocks. The loser of that game will play here. We're going to run through some of the sponsors before we sign off here. We will have the Jackson Porter Player of the Game Awards as well. But so many great sponsors that we want to make sure that we thank them all. The town of Innisfail, Central Alberta Co-op, Aptus Engineering, Blue Rock Animal Nutrition, Niemeyer's, Plumbing and Heating by Adawick, Canlocks Across, everyone over at Century 21, CMB Electric, the Evans Law Office, Odin Technologies, Silver Devil Spirits, Olds Fertilizer Agri Services, Nixon Honey, Cojan, Slash Sports, who just have a great booth set up out there in the lobby. Make sure you go support them. Best car wash and Sud Station in Western Canada. No doubt about that one. Lenny Estes knew I'd slip that one in there. Farm Tech Mechanical, Carey Flaws Real Estate in conjunction with Royal LePage. Don Lashers, J&J's, Lawn Care and Snow Removals, Woodsmith Custom Interiors, Darkwoods Coffee Roasters, Mountain West Promotions, Tim Hortons, Cal Tire, Fix Auto in Countryside, Didsbury, Coldwell Banker, as well as Cal Tire, and our title sponsors, Platinum Fitness, the Innisfail Legion, Branch 104, and WestJet Airlines.
Painter, I'll give you a break there. That was quite a bit, but
Thank you.
a little bit of Josh in here in the lineup between goalies. I think one guy's got a upper hand, and that's Luke Andrews. One goal against, 52 shots. That's 51 saves. That's an outstanding performance. I don't think we need to do the player of the game. We know the player.
He's definitely going to be my interview after that we'll post online. I'm going to go grab that after we get down out of the booth here. Got to go climb the ladder one last time here, Dawson.
Yeah.
Thanks to you for being here. Obviously, it's great having a little bit of the players' insight up here in the booth. We'll stick around live here now for the Player of the Game Awards, the Jackson Porter Player of the Game. You can see the camaraderie here as Eastwood is still down floor there, and he is beat up from a long playoff run for the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels. Not the way they wanted things to end here in Innisfail, as they're still collecting the gear down there on the far side. And we'll get going here as Robin Benko will be out there doing her thing, getting some photos. We'll turn it over to Mandy here. So Ian Stewart, the commissioner of the RMLL up there, and Reed Lowe, the player of the game for the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels. You can see the emotion on his face. He had a great season, did number 13. So that was a very fitting pick there, and he'll get that wooden shaft. Dawson Mailer called it. Luke Andrews will take home the award as well. He's still signaling over to the other goalie there. They'll get a nice photo there. We'll sign off here on YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Another game coming up tonight. It's the Mavericks. It's the Shamrocks coming up next at the 2026 Larry Bishop Memorial Cup. Thanks for joining us.